it's Carolyn and Michelle, aka LA Triathlete and Fuel My Run, and we're going off course.
Oh my God, I'm so happy to see your face.
Same. Looking ratchet.
No. Wow, you're already back too. That's crazy.
Already back, unpacked. Yes, I unpacked this morning. I usually unpack when I get back, but I was like, not in the mood. And then everything was really stinky. Like my wetsuit was like still wet and like folded up in my bag. I was like, well, there's also the transition area of this race. It's on like a football field or something. So there's like, like on turf, there's those black, I don't know what they're called, like rubber pieces, those
little
small
like
black
pebble things.
Yeah, they're
like
fucking
the
everywhere in my
plastic
apartment.
tires.
Yes, they're tires, and they're just like all over the floor right now. So I'm like,
oh, was
They
it a
just, like,
one
attached-
transition area like
Yes.
you were discussing with races?
yes, the logistics, the admin, so easy at this race. So
Interesting.
never doing this race again, though. By the way, guys, it's literally cursed.
Well, you actually said it was like the worst race ever the first time you did it, right?
Yeah, so I did it in 2022, first pro race, worst race ever, and then I was like, well, with you think about it, it should be a great race. It's a beautiful course. It's logistically easy, like admin's easy. I mean, the bike's like hillier than I thought. A lot of rolling hills. It's just never flat. You're just like up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, this will be my redemption year. And then that didn't happen, guys. It didn't happen. So should we get into it?
I mean, how are you feeling? Are you okay? Are you just like all over the place, I would imagine?
Yeah. So throwing it back, guys. So last week on, I think it was Monday on Labor Day, my older brother called me and I was like, okay, let's throw it back even further to 1993. No, I'm just kidding.
You're
The
born.
year I was born. So full disclosure, my dad is an alcoholic and I mean functioning, right? Maybe not as functioning
Like a lot of
as
Americans.
Yes,
Yeah.
like so many people. I was always embarrassed to like tell people that when I was growing up, like no one knew. I feel like people knew, but I didn't tell people. Like they probably just like came over to my house for sleepover and they're like, interesting. Yeah, I just like feel like he's 67 now.
Okay.
67. And I just feel like over the last couple of years, it's gotten like not worse. I don't even know. I don't live there anymore, but just talking to him and just like he's been struggling with technology. Like I'll text him and he won't respond for like weeks. And then I'll like call him. He's not answering. And then I get worried. And then he's like, oh, my phone's broken. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's literally not broken. Like yeah.
That's also hard because with parents, you
Right.
think that's just normal. It's like, it's hard to
Exactly.
see. It's like, is this different than what it
Yeah.
used to be? Or have you always been like this? So
No, that's so true. And like he's a boomer. So he has, yes, he's definitely kind of been
technology
like that. Like my mom.
tendencies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like even my mom's like really good with her phone, but she still struggles with stuff. Also, my parents are divorced. They've been divorced for like 15 years. So just like keep that in mind. So yeah, I don't know. I was telling Michelle this. I have this like weird like sixth sense thing. It's only happened twice now where with family members, at least I can tell it's the last time I'm going to see that person. I don't know. It's a really creepy feeling, but like my grandma, when I was like a grandma's girl, I love my grandma so much. But when she passed away, I remember I was home for Christmas maybe that year, and she wasn't even like, she's old and she had health problems, but she wasn't like sick at the time. Like there was no indicator that she was going to die anytime soon. But I just remember hugging her and being like, this is the last time I'm going to see my grandma. And I don't know why I knew that. Same thing with my dad. I was home in July and I went to lunch with him and I was like, this is the last time I'm going to see my dad. It was a really weird feeling. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. Seems like every time I see him too, he just looks a little bit worse, seems slower. So last week, my older brother called me on Monday and I was like, that's weird. We do text regularly, but he almost never calls. And I was like, oh no, like that's kind of weird. So I answered the phone and he's like, so my dad is in the hospital. He went to the ER. But my uncle was supposed to get dinner with my dad and then he wasn't responding and there's a whole thing. And then my neighbor had like a garage code to the house. And so like they called life squad and the police and stuff. And they came and he was like, I don't really know the story or like what state he was in. I think he was responsive, but like the vitals were bad enough that they took him to the ER and he went to the ER and then he was in the in ICU. No, somewhere. Yeah, ICU. I think they moved him to the
Sounds
ICU.
right. Yeah.
But then he was getting treated for like alcohol withdrawal because he's in the hospital. He can't drink. But also, like, I don't know. Me and my brothers were talking about this. We're like, we don't know if something health related happened at home and he couldn't drink, or if he like was at the hospital and the 24 hours at the hospital he started withdrawing. I don't know. But anyway, so he was getting treated for that. But they kept doing all these tests and they weren't finding anything specific. He does have AFib, but like a lot of people have AFib and it's never been like an issue. And then they were like doing CT scans, so it wasn't a stroke. So there wasn't really like any like cause other than, whatever, like nothing specific to pinpoint. So throughout the week, we're just getting updates from my brother, and like the updates are just like, oh, he's not responsive. I mean, he's alive and he's just not, he's like, he'll open his eyes, but he's not like responding to people's names. But the doctors are like, oh, that's normal. It usually takes 3 to 5 days, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going through the week, like obviously worried,
he's
but like
gonna recover. Like
yeah,
he's
my
gonna get
uncle's
through
literally
it.
like, they're talking about, oh, next steps, like what's going to happen when he's back to normal. What are we going to do? And then they're like trying to plan this stuff, whatever. So yeah, I was like, okay, I think if I'd known, it's just like hard. If I had known that it was that bad, I would have gone home. Right. So anyway, he's in Ohio, by the way. And my cousin, so as we know, we talked about in the last episode, I had a wedding on Thursday. My whole mom's side was at the wedding, and then my race was on Sunday. So we were all up in Santa Cruz / San Jose together, which was really fun.
Yeah.
Still no updates, whatever. So race morning, like the wedding was great. Again, no updates. Saturday night, my older brother texts and he's like, oh, he's having trouble breathing and he's gone into septic shock. And I was like, that doesn't sound great. I don't really know what that means.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I was like Googling it and it was just like, this happens sometimes. And I was like, it seemed normal. So I woke up Sunday, race day. And
Oh my gosh. Okay.
well, let's start.
Could you sleep the day before race day?
I could sleep because it just seemed like I don't really know what septic shock means. And like from everything on Google, it just seemed like something that can happen when you're in the hospital. And I was like, oh, it's probably normal. They'll treat it, whatever.
There's just so many things going on mentally, though.
There's
like
so many things going on.
Yeah, it's like you have the race, you have your dad, you have like all family there. You just had the wedding, so you're probably mentally exhausted in a way that allowed you to sleep.
That's so true. I slept actually really well at the hotel last week, which was, and you're right. It's like one of those things where you're thinking, and it was all fun. Like the wedding and all that was fun. And then I was excited for the race, but it's just like, I think you're right. I think like maybe at the forefront of my brain, I was like, didn't feel super stressed, but I feel like deep down, like there was definitely a lot going on, but I like just didn't think about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, side note, some tea from the race. Okay. It's not even tea. So you check your bike in the day before the race, right?
Yes. Me logistically
and transition.
thinking. Okay.
Like just your bike. So
just the bike.
Just the bike. And so there's these big racks with your bike that your bikes go on, right? Metal racks. And so you're supposed to rack it by hanging it like the seat on the rack, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So like the seat hangs on the rack and then the bike kind of like leans down. And there's even signs in transition that it's like, this is the right way to rack your bike. This is the wrong way. And the wrong way is you're not supposed to rack it by the handlebars. Okay.
Okay.
However, pros are allowed to do whatever the fuck they want. Okay. So I had mine racked. I always have to rack mine by the handlebars. That just means like the brakes kind of like loop over it and it's just very secure. Like it doesn't move. But if I rack my seat's too short, if I rack it by the seat, it just teeters and doesn't really stay on the rack. Okay.
Shouldn't they know this?
Everybody knows this. And pros are allowed to do whatever they want. So anyway, I rack my bike by the handlebars. I leave. I'm on Instagram a few hours later, and my friend Serena posts a picture of her bike. My bike's in the background, and I can see someone fucking moved my bike and racked it by the seat. And I was like, oh no, it's gonna fall. It's literally can't, all you have to do is barely tap the fucking rack and the bike will fall off. Or if a gust of wind comes in, my bike will fall off. So there's a pro lady, the pros have a contact person for the day. So I call her and I was like, this is really annoying, but I was like, this happened. I was like, can you go to transition and check my bike? Okay. She's like, oh my God, don't even worry about it. I'll run over there
good
right
time
now.
to use.
And so she calls me back and she sends me a picture. It was re-racked again. And she's like, oh, it looks like your bike's racked by the handlebars again. So someone put it back on the handlebars. And I was like, well, thank you
when
for
they
checking
realized
that.
it probably fell.
No, that's what I said. I said, okay, yeah, that's great. I was like, nope, it fell. And that's why they re-racked it by the handlebars the way I had it before. Not her fault, she obviously. And she was so sweet. But I was like, great. Okay, so my bike fell, which inherently isn't the worst thing in the world, but if it falls on the side where all the stuff is, like the gears and shit. So I was a little bit stressed about that. So like I was like, I'll just check it in race morning. So I got into transition on race morning and I was like shifting it and turning the pedals. And it was like click, 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 click. It was like sounded so bad, but it was still shifting okay. But I was like, it's probably fine. But they have bike mechanics in transition. And honestly, I should have gone over to one and like utilized them. I was like, it's probably fine. It's just, I'm like, maybe it clicks normally. I don't know.
Yeah,
So
maybe
anyway.
you're overthinking it. Maybe,
Yeah. And there's a guy who was standing here talking to this guy, and he's like, well, if it's shifting fine, he's like, I wouldn't mess with it. And you're like, no. I'm like, you're totally right. So anyway, race morning. Great. That happens. I'm like, fuck, okay. Like, it's clicking, but whatever. And I'm like getting my stuff set up on race morning. And I checked my phone, and my older brother texted me and my younger brother and was like, just so you know, dad took a turn from the worst last night, and he's probably like not going to make it through the rest of the, like through today. And I was like,
wait, what time did
like,
you receive that text?
Okay, so I was in transition, probably like 5:30 a.m. and the race starts at like 6:45 or whatever. And I was like, okay. So I'm like stressed. I come out of transition. I'm done with all my stuff in there. I'm talking to Jordan. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, well, it's nothing you can do now. He's like, just do the race. He's like, don't think about it. Put it out of your mind for now. Like, so far everything's fine, whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll like after the race look into booking a flight home.
You're thinking
today or
about this
tomorrow.
all within minutes before the race start.
Yeah, right before the race. And I'm like, Jordan's like, I can look at flights for you. And I was like, okay. So anyway, go to start the race, swim, great. No complaints.
Nice.
Cold.
I was looking at your time. It looked good.
Thank you. It was mid-pack for the pros. Got out. Okay, so the transition is so fucking long at this race. You get out, you have to run through like deep sand. The whole
I was
beach.
wondering.
Oh my
I
God,
looked at
just
your
for, like-
time and I was like, where?
You're like, that's slow.
I honestly don't understand the transition time. That can be a discussion for another day. But I was kind of like, I wonder like why it was longer than past races.
Yeah,
That's why.
it's so long. So you have to run through the sand for like
Ugh.
50 yards, no, maybe not even 30 yards or something, like kind of long, but you're like, it's deep and you're like dying and you're in your wetsuit and you're hot. And then you get up onto this, like the pavement, and then there's like a little bit of road, and then you go into this like little path thing. The run is a half a mile. So you're barefoot. The ground is like not smooth. It's like pebbly concrete. It hurts your feet so bad. There was another girl who ran past me and she was like, ow, 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 ow.
No
And I was
way.
like, hey, yeah, it fucking hurt.
Was it like
Michelle.
that in 2022?
Yes, it was. And I was dreading it. It was not, I think I did better this time because I expected it. But by the end of that run, I was like in so much fucking agony. The bottom of my heel, my left heel hurts today. It hurts. And I was like,
And it's
that's
from
weird.
that run.
Literally from the run. Because I was like, I didn't even do the run of the race. So I was like, why does my foot hurt? And I'm like, I think it's because I was running on that fucking
Okay,
shit.
to be fair, it was like 5.5 minutes, right? Through transition.
I was
That's
like, yes.
pretty fast to run a half mile,
God, thank
go
you.
through sand and get to your
Stop.
bike. So all of a
And
sudden,
have to
it's
take your
not
wetsuit
long.
off. True.
Yeah, get
I mean,
dressed.
yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, I had to like peel the wetsuit off and like, yeah, I was actually pretty fast. So I got on the bike and I was like ahead of some girls and like, I was like happy with where I was. Of course, get on the bike, immediately start getting passed by all the pro women. And I'm like, cool. And the bike nonstop, just the whole fucking 56 miles, Michelle. It was grating. It was so loud. I mean, you can ask anyone who passed me, like that bitch's bike is like loud as fuck.
Did you check if there was like a card with like a the thing you
spokes?
put on the tire? Like
Yeah, right. Like, so
remember that?
I do remember that.
With the
I think
clothespin.
I can literally see it now. I'm like looking at my bike. So it definitely fell. I can't prove who did it. I'm just kidding.
Someone
It
was
a
trying
conspiracy.
to. Someone wanted to eat you.
We're sabotaging. The derailleur hanger is bent. I can see that it's bent. And
Not the
it wasn't
derailleur
bent the day
hanger.
before. I know. And like I rode the bike the day before. And then I also like 3 times before the race.
And it went
that week.
well.
And
You
it
were
was
excited
smooth.
about it.
I was excited. I was like, my bike feels so fast. It's shifting so well. That shit is so bent. So I was trying to Google this because sometimes when something's wrong with your bike, it can make it harder to ride, right? So if your like brake is rubbing, obviously it's going to be harder to ride. But I wasn't sure if a bent derailleur hanger, but like Google was like, yeah, it can be harder to ride because it's like things are rubbing. So because like my power numbers were where they were supposed to be. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going so slow. Not,
Oh
I mean,
my
like,
God.
like I'm putting down, my race watts, probably like 200-ish. And I'm like holding that. And I'm like not going very fast. I'm getting past so much. I'm like, what is going on? So that was happening. Then the whole bike, I'm thinking about my dad.
Frustrating. Yeah, of
So
course.
frustrating. And then,
Yeah.
mind you guys, my whole family's here. So I've got grandpa, mom, stepdad, aunt, other aunt, 2 uncles, a cousin, like a whole fucking crew. And I'm like, they've never seen me race. So I'm like, I'm going to let them down. Like I suck. And I just was so pissed this whole bike. And so I come in and everyone's cheering and I see like my aunt, like my mom and stuff. I go into transition and I'm like, I was like, I don't think I'm going to run. I just like, I was even seeing people when I was coming in on the bike, I could see people running, like starting the run or whatever. And I was like, that looks like hell what they're doing.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to do that. Plus I've been having hip, as we know, the hip was hipping.
The hip was hipping.
And it wasn't even hipping that much, but it kind of was hipping. So anyway, I put my running shoes on and I was like, let me just, and my mom was standing right outside of where I run out. So I like run out and immediately go up to her and start sobbing
No.
so hard. And
Carolyn,
then my mom's like, oh
I want to
my
give you a
God.
huge
She's like,
hug.
I know, my grandpa's standing there too. And he like is such a supporter. And I was just like, Mom, like, I don't know what to do. And she's like, what's wrong? Because she, at this point, I don't know what she knows. I don't know if Nick's texted her about my dad. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's, I was like,
You don't know the text she was getting.
yeah. And I was like, well, I was like, my hip kind of hurts. And I was just like, I feel like shit. I'm slow. And then I was like, and then Nick texted me this morning and my mom was like, God damn it, Nick. She's like, I didn't want him to tell you that before the race, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. And she's like, well, she's like, no matter what you decide, we support you. That's what we're here for. And I was like, okay. She's like, just try, run and see. And so I start running.
Okay.
And it actually feels okay.
I didn't know you started running.
I did. I started running and I actually felt okay. And I was like,
okay.
Like I felt good. And it was like the weather wasn't bad. Like it wasn't hot. And I was like, okay, maybe I can do this. And so you come around this bend and you have to run up this hill. And then I was like, fuck no. And so I run up the hill and I'm like, okay, let me just run to where my aunt is. Cause I saw her coming in on the bike and she was a little bit further down from my mom. And I was like, well, once I see my aunt, I'll quit and just like walk back with her. Never saw her. I'm like, where's this bitch? So I'm like, let's just keep running. And I got to 1.5 miles. And then this girl, Nicole, she's another pro who also is having hip issues. And she told me before the race, she didn't think she was going to do the run. She was standing off to the side and I saw her and like went up to her and like started crying. And she's so sweet. And she like hugged me and she's like, this is my first DNF too. And she's like, all this stuff.
Oh my God.
And she like had her phone. She said she grabbed her phone and because you're not supposed to race with your phone, but she like knew she wasn't going to like finish. So she brought her phone with her. And so like I called my mom and she's like, just do what you need to do. And I was like, okay. And like the hip was hipping and the quad was quadding.
Oh,
like
no.
I think it just like everything was more sore because I think I was just like working harder than I need to on the bike. So
Probably.
but I was also like not running very fast. By the time I got her, I was going like a 9-minute pace. And I was like, if I keep running and finish this race, my time is going to be so slow for me.
And you
And
might
then
get
it's like-
injured.
And I might get more injured. So I was like, literally, what's the point of finishing this race at this point? Because I'm like miserable. And I've never DNF'd before, but I feel like it's just inevitable, right? And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stop. So then I had to walk 1.5 miles back and literally like walk past everyone who's
Downhill,
cheering.
though.
Yeah, that's true. Downhill. And then like all the people who are running the course. So all these people are like, oh my God, LA triathlete. And I'm like,
Like,
people are like,
hi. Don't
hi.
talk to
I was
me.
like,
my derailleur
crying.
hanger or whatever.
And then I'm like, it was just a mess. And then, I mean, it was fine. But I met my family at the transition and they were so sweet. And I was like sobbing. And they're like, it's okay. Like, my aunt was so cute. She's like, I just wanted to see you on your bike. And I got to see you on your bike. So that's like all that I care about. And they were so sweet. So then we went to lunch on the pier. And then, unfortunately, at that time is also when I got the text from my older brother that my dad had passed. I know. And it was like, I was so glad to be there with my family, but it's also complicated because they don't really like my dad.
Yeah.
Because it was all my mom's side of the family. And so obviously they were like so supportive and like helping me and consoling me and everything like that. But then it was just like, oh, this sucks. And then I had to drive all the way back to LA. So everyone's like, at least you're surrounded by your family. And I'm like, yeah, for like 5 more minutes. And then I have to fucking.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It's so complicated too with like divorced parents. And
It is.
You know, it's like you want to have your connection with your dad be what it is for you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And especially with the complications of everything.
Oh yeah. No, and like that's the thing. It's like, I mean, I wasn't as close with him. You know, I mean, I don't know. We didn't talk as like, I don't know. It's just that's how it was. And like my younger brother was kind of the same way. I think my older brother was even starting to get more that way too. So yeah, my older brother, I think I said he had booked a flight home that day. He's like, I booked a flight, but his flight didn't get in till late, and my dad passed at like 3:30. So my brother didn't even get there. And so it was like this weird emotion of being like, oh, I should have been there. But also like it kind of turned so fast that like there was no time for me
could
to
have been
get
impossible to get there.
No,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like
I
my
feel
brother's
you
2
can't.
hours away in Florida. He's way closer. You know, it's a quick flight, and he couldn't even make it. So my uncles were there. Like my dad wasn't alone. And like the other thing was like my mom and Jordan were saying was like, well, he wasn't really like responsive. Like I don't think he was very aware of anything around him. So my mom's like, even if he were still here, she's like, I don't even know if it would make sense for you to go there because he wouldn't even know you're there. And I'm like, that's true. So anyway, then yeah, just had to like go back to the hotel, shower, pack the car up and drive back. But
That's
Jordan's
crazy.
been it's crazy. And Jordan's been so sweet. He like obviously drove almost the whole way. I felt bad. It was like such a long drive. So I took like the last hour, but he's been very sweet. And his sister sent flowers and stuff, which is really so sweet too. But it's just like also complicated because I'm still going to Europe Thursday. And it's like, it feels wrong to go on this like grand trip. But I'm like, what else would I like? Everything's paid for. It's non-refundable. So it's, I don't know.
Your life has been really complicated lately.
It's been so complicated.
When you lost Virgo, you were on a
I
trip.
wasn't here.
You were with
Yeah.
family and like, you know, Jordan's family, your family, like having really good times together. And then you hear something
Yeah.
like, so awful. And then another time where you're with, so you're like dealing with like the highest highs and the lowest lows at the same time.
Yep.
And how are
No,
you
you're
supposed
so
to
right.
feel?
It's so confusing. Like, yeah, when I was in, I don't think we ever talked about the Virgo situation on the podcast. I think most
maybe
people
we
know.
didn't.
I think probably most people know from Instagram, but my friend died in a bike crash on the group ride I do every Saturday. It was like a freak accident. But yeah, I was in Hilton Head when it happened. And so, yeah, I was like having fun with his family, but also like grieving at the same time. So it was like really confusing. And then that's like kind of how yesterday, I don't know, just like this week feels weird too. Cause it's like, I've got this exciting thing coming up, but then it's like, yeah, I don't know. And then we don't even know like when the funeral is going to be. Like my brother, I don't know. Just a lot.
It's almost like you have to take life as it comes. And because I remember too, after Virgo passed, I remember you saying, and obviously we can cut this out if you want, but like it wasn't hitting you right away.
Yeah.
And it was confusing because you weren't there and you're like, I can't imagine him actually being gone. And then you get back and then it just hit
Yes.
you randomly.
It was
Like one
delayed.
day, I remember a voice memo from you and you're just like, I don't know why I'm feeling like this right now. Like it's
Yeah.
just, it's like you never know when that is going to hit you. And I would imagine it's not like you can force yourself to cope in a certain way.
You're so right. The Virgo thing was so true. It was like because I wasn't there with everybody, yeah, it didn't feel real. And then like the funeral didn't happen until I was like back in town and everything, which was really, I mean, that was great that I could be there for that because that was like the closure I needed. But that day, it hit me hard. But then with this, it was like, I don't know. It wasn't like, I think Virgo's was like initial shock, like very unexpected.
Yeah,
Just
true.
And then this is kind of like it sounds bad to say, but like a little more like saw it coming. You know what I mean? Not like he was sick, but like, I mean, I think we all knew it was coming. You know what I mean? Sounds so bad to say.
No,
But-
and I think people can agree with that. Or not agree. I'm sorry. I think people can understand that.
Today it definitely hit me harder. I like made the Instagram post about it. I wasn't sure if I was going to, but then it felt weird. I don't know. I feel like people needed to know. You know what I mean?
It's weird sharing your life
What?
on social media because it's like, what do
is.
you, because especially you with your style, because you share mini updates throughout the day too. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's kind of like if someone's following you, it feels like they're with you throughout the day. So when
Yeah.
you don't post, it's kind of like, oh, I wonder what Carolyn's doing, especially the
Yeah, and
people who
then-
follow you every day.
Right. And then like also saying, excuse me, in my DNF story, I like posted a story and I was like, oh, I got bad news. before the race started. And it was just like so vague. And I'm like, well, it's like hard too because I don't like getting sympathy from people, which somebody died. Like it's like the
Like
right
it's okay to get the sympathy.
it makes me uncomfortable for some reason. I'm like, oh, I don't want you to feel bad for me. I think that's what it is. You know what I mean?
I think people just love you and want you to know that they see you and feel you. But also,
exactly.
I know I said like, you know, you post a lot, but it's not like you owe anyone anything you don't want to tell them. But also, I think people are really would be interested to know what happened. And also people going through something similar, this could actually really help them.
That's what I was thinking. And I was like, it does feel good to like talk about it, I think. And I've been like alone all day, you know, like Jordan's at work and I'm just like sitting here. I'm
I
like,
hate that. I
know. I know. And then I'm like working today, but like from home, and I get bereavement leave, but like, I'm like, should I save it? And then my boss is like, why are you part of it? I think he's kind of like, why are you working? But it's also helpful to like keep my mind off of things. But like,
true.
Maybe I'll take bereavement tomorrow. I don't know. Just like a day. I just feel like, and then this is so sweet. My friend Tina texted me and she's like, hey, I'm so sorry, whatever. And then she's like, if you feel like you need to ride your bike, ride your bike. But if not, she's like, have grace with yourself, like to take time off, blah, blah, blah. Totally. And I was like, that was so funny. She texted me that because I'm like literally sitting here thinking, okay, if I like take tomorrow off of work, do I want to just lay around or do I want to go for a bike ride? I'm like, honestly, a bike ride sounds awful right now, which is crazy. So
where's your head at with working out?
It definitely has to do because I'm so sore today. I think that's probably part of it and tired just from the race. So that's like, I'm like, oh, a big bike ride normally would sound great, but that's probably, but then I also feel bad because I leave in like 3 days. And when I'm in Europe, I'm like not going to do anything. So I'm like, I mean, I should do stuff.
You definitely don't have to do anything.
I know. I know.
Just as someone else to tell you, you definitely, if anything, this could be the universe telling you, just like from the race perspective and the bike falling. Maybe it was the wind. Maybe it was freaking the person going for revenge. I don't know what I'm saying. But maybe it's the universe telling you that your hip needs to heal, you know? And that like a little extra time off is good.
That is okay. I literally thought that too because I was like annoyed that it happened. And I was also like thinking, what if the bike hadn't fallen and it was like, felt better? What if the bike felt better? I'm like, would I have finished would I have finished the race?
I think you would have.
I think, if like my headspace might have been a little bit better. Like I might have just still tried to okay, it's probably good I didn't run because of my hip. And
totally. You could have gutted it out, but I mean, at what cost?
Again, I could have ran, but it was just like slow. I was running so slow and I'm just like, it's just, if I finish the race, it's going to probably hurt more.
You were also running uphill for that part.
Also 3 miles of it are in this park and it's like ruddy dirt, like uneven sand.
What is ruddy?
Like, you know, ruddy. Like a lot of like ditches and like ruts.
Ruddy?
Yeah. RUTTY.
Why did they make that the course?
I don't know.
In a ruddy area in your
so
carbon
it's like,
fibers? I'm sorry.
No, literally. It's like paved and then like
you didn't want to
ruin
3
to 4 miles.
Let's be honest.
I should have worn my trail shoes.
You need a hybrid.
Awful. It's like not fun. I remember it from like years ago and I was like, that part fucking, it's pretty, but it fucking sucks.
That's a crazy course. We need to call the cops on that
crazy.
One.
No, literally.
Yesterday, you texted me a picture of your bib and it was 33. And for people not knowing this, we both ran a 3:33 marathon earlier this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, earlier this year. And we've just like 3:33 has like,
that's been our number.
Yeah, it's been our number. Kind of like meant a lot. Whenever I see threes, I like think of you. And yesterday, after the race that I did, the time trial, I kept on seeing 3:33. I edited like a recap video and it was 3 minutes and 33 seconds. I looked at my phone.
Oh my God.
And it was 3:33. I looked at an address and it was 3:33. I looked at a car and it was 3:33.
No way.
And then I was just like, and then you know what's crazy? Actually, I should look at the time that I texted you. And I was kind of like, this is weird. I should text her. And just seeing the number 333 was like, no, you need to check in with Carolyn. I don't know. It just like was the universe telling me to reach out to you.
Yeah, my dad passed at 3:30.
Seriously?
Yeah. Isn't that weird? But like, it seemed like the threes were very unlucky yesterday. I don't know.
threes
Who
were.
knows? That was my
I
race
feel
number,
like
and I'm like, this is supposed to be a good thing. It was bib number 33.
I don't
It
know.
is.
It's just weird, but I mean, just I hope you're taking care of yourself and do whatever you're craving. You know, like whether it's eating ice cream on the couch or going, I don't know, swimming, going on a. I don't know.
Swimming
going-
sounds so nice. That's like, keep
There
thinking
you
about
go.
swimming. I'm like, that's all that sounds appealing to me right now.
good.
That's a sign.
You have it. You can always come back to it. It's easier on the body, right?
It's easy on the body, and it's like not hot, except for after when I sweat a lot, as we talked about.
Yeah, that's true. And you can't take a shower. You can't blow dry your hair.
Yeah, I can't do anything. Dead.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Oh my God, of course. But now you have to tell us what's the tea. Like, tell us about your 10K. I want to hear everything.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll give a little update on the time trial, and then we have a question from Taylor if we have time and want to hop into that. Are you sure
yeah.
you're filling up to it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll get your brain off of things right now.
That actually is very helpful.
Sometimes it's just nice to talk about random stuff, you know?
It is.
Also, there's some things that I realized in this time trial where I was kind of like, oh my God, I have to pick Carolyn's brain about this. Hello, Michelle here. Sorry for that cutoff. That was not cool. I couldn't piece together a good transition. So I'm just going to let you know that we will be sharing the 10K time trial recap in addition to answering a ton of questions in the next episode. So you have to stay tuned. Carolyn's doing okay, and it was really cool of her to kind of share her story and open up a little bit about everything that's been happening recently. So thank you so much, Carolyn, for doing that. And obviously we had a conversation before going into the podcast where she mentioned that she wanted to do it. So whatever she needs. Anyway, we will talk to you next week. See you next Tuesday, as we say, not on cadence. But anyways, love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.